everybody? Welcome to my channel. I feel like I haven't really properly introduced myself and what this or explain what this channel is gonna be about. So here's the thing. I live in New York City. I really don't have a car, so it's hard for me to travel. So I travel to bus, and to be honest, I just started fishing 2 years ago, like fast. This year I haven't really been fishing a lot due to certain circumstances, but I feel like if this channel works out, I'll be able to film a little bit more and be able to explain how to fish around here. So let me start off with the one thing. First of all, right now I'm gonna be screen recording my iPad just to show the areas that I'm fishing and just give tips on how to fish the spots that I fish in. So first of all, I live in New York City, and there's not really a lot of like fishing going on, or nobody talking about fishing in YouTube, especially in New York City. You see videos of people catching big fish like striped bass, white perch, catfish, but not really explaining how to fish properly around here. So I think that's what my channel is gonna be mostly focused on explaining how to fish around here. So let us begin. So I fish in an area called Inwood Park. It's a great park to take family. It has a lot of history. I recommend it, you know, if you ever want to get out of the city and you just want to see a piece of, how can I put it, like a, if you just want to have peace. You get tired hearing cars and, you know, the city life. So if you ever want to get out, I recommend you going to this park. And another thing is, it's a great spot to fish. I grew up around the area when I was younger, and honestly, I was never really into fishing. I didn't even knew anything about fishing till like the past 2 years. And it's up to you to listen to me or not, but these are the things that I have learned. I've done my research, especially using maps to see what kind of terrain is inside the water, not just outside. And I figure out that it is so hard to fish around there because when I first started fishing and I started learning how to fish, I would lose a lot of things like weights, lures, without really knowing the terrain. So I give you an example. If you go to fish somewhere and you never fished there before, you can go, I'm gonna throw a spoon, I'm gonna throw a lure, I'm gonna throw like a bait here, stuff like that, without really knowing the terrain. Because you can end up losing things. You can end up getting stuck on a rock, in the log. You don't know what's really inside that water. Especially, it's connected to the Hudson River. Well, it is the Hudson River, or whatever you want to call it, East River, what people call it. But the fact that that water is murky, and you know, it's low visibility. Sometimes it's clear when it's low tide, especially in the summer, you can tell. But you know, one thing that I learned is that you should always be prepared, and you should always know your terrain. And that's one thing I learned about fishing. Look around, ask people that fish around there, ask for advice. Trust me, at first you're gonna be lost and you're gonna be like, what should I do? What can I do? Especially if you don't know about any type of fishing. And here's another thing, there are friendly people around there, but just be prepared. Anywhere you go, not just like, even if you do know about fishing, you try to fish around the area, just remember there's always going to be those assholes, you know? And just prepare to hear some of them talk smacked. But it's okay, it's fine. You're there to fish, you're not there to fight. So here's the thing. This specific spot, you have to be an early bird, especially if you're going to fish there the whole day. Don't plan on a day and you go like, I'm going to go there at 10, I'm going to go there at 12, I'm going to go there at 1. Once you get there, especially in the summer, once you get there, it's gonna be too late, and it's gonna be hard to find spots because around this area is very rocky, and you're gonna end up losing so much weight, so much, even hooks, because you know hooks also get stuck between rocks. So I recommend there being there early. I usually go around there sometimes 6 in the morning. I used to go there 5 and then be there to like the rest of the day and see how much fish I catch. But that was just me at the beginning. Now I go there around 6, 7, especially if I know that the spot that I'm going to, there's not a lot of people. But here's one thing, other than fishing, keep the area clean. There's people that fish there, that I feel like they don't keep the area clean. They don't pick up after themselves, and you're always gonna see trash everywhere, especially fishing line. And you gotta think, if I'm fishing here, and especially if you're gonna eat out of the water, I don't really eat fish. I actually like just fishing for the sports, and sometimes I do take fish home and just give it to people that like fish that I know. But here's the way I see it: if you go to fish there and you throwing trash, even people use the bathroom there. That's another thing that I find it disgusting. If you go there and you're gonna eat the fish, don't trash the place. Think about it. It's like you're eating at a table with your family and someone decide to throw garbage on the side of you, all garbage on your plate. That's the way I see it. You want to fish clean, keep your lines together, because fishing lines can affect the wildlife around there. And trust me, this park is well known for their wildlife, and a lot of people don't know about it. Like I said, take your time, hike around, and you're gonna see things. One of the rarest things that I've seen that I haven't seen this year is a seal. One time we saw one seal, and I was mind blown. I was like, wow, I didn't even know there was seal here. And I grew up around that area. I grew up in the park. I used to go play their sports with my family and stuff like that, even barbecues. And that's another thing. If you're fishing around there, especially in the summer, you're gonna see a lot of people barbecuing. You're gonna hear loud music and stuff like that. Even if you tell them to lower it down, they're not gonna listen, especially when they're Latin people. I'm Latin, and I know how loud they are. I don't like big noises. Certain people don't like big noises, but you can control that. So as long as they respect you and you respect them and you avoid problems, you're fine. Especially if you ever see someone cross you while you fish and they end up using the bathroom, speak up. That's the only thing that I can advise. Speak up and tell them, hey, I'm fishing here while you use the bathroom here, this and that, like, respectfully. And if they start something, just remember, if you have something to record, just record it. Because we gotta keep this area clean, especially if you fish there, if you walk there, you just walking your dog, if you're part of the neighborhood. Why would you want to trash nature? Especially if you're fishing there for food. Don't trash it. So let's go back to what I was saying. So the place that I fish is called Inwood Park. The area specifically is called Spotsylvania. I probably said it wrong, or Spotsylvania, something like that. I suck at pronouncing things because of my you can say I kind of have an accent. I just can't pronounce certain things. So, anyways, it's called Spotsylvania. It's connected to the Hudson River. It's a highway. That's the way I call it. And there's a lot of great fish there. The common fish that you catch there is white perch, striped bass, oyster toadfish. Those are ugly fish. Trust me. Careful with those. You gotta use good pliers, or you can end up losing your finger. And even snappers, little blue snappers that sometimes they're around the area, and most of the time you can catch them just using spoons. So it's a great area to fish. One of the rarest fish that I've seen people catch, or they have shown pictures and videos of what they caught, flounder. I never caught a flounder before. Hopefully I'll be able to catch one. And I've seen pictures and videos of people catching good flounders. So if you're one of those people, good luck and try your luck. Another thing is that I once caught an order kingfish. They're like fish with stripes, and I only caught them in another spot that I fish in City Island. That's another spot that I'm gonna talk about in a different video. But for now, this video. So I'll call a small one. I know blow one. And a sea robin. Surprisingly, sea robins. I didn't even know there were sea robins in those waters. I only seen them in City Island too. So here, those are the type of species that are around the areas that I seen and caught. Oh, I have seen videos and pictures of it. Even black sea bass, but most of the time they come out small. So I suggest you to throw it back in. And that's another thing. Check your local areas for the specific regulations, what type of fish, size you can keep, what type of fish you can keep, because some of them are protected. So I fully recommend you to check it. And another species that I miss is eels. They're very common to catch there, especially in the summer. So always wear gloves because they're very icky, sticky, whatever you want to call it, and slimy. So always wear gloves for them. As I was saying, just be aware of what type of fish you're catching. Just follow the regulations, and you know everything would be good. Especially the white perch. White perch, if I recall, they're invasive species to the Hudson River, so you can keep them at any size. You can take how many you want, that I recall. And if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna try to look it up. So yeah, striped bass, you can keep them in that area. You can keep them 18 to 28. So please remember to anything bigger than that, return it back. And anything smaller than 18, return it back. We want these fish to repopulate for other fishermen like us to fish, or brand new fishermen to have that experience to fish. And here's the thing. One of the best baits to use around there, shrimp. Shrimp, a lot of people don't use shrimp in other areas, especially in City Islands. Shrimp don't really work. They usually end up catching one of the common fish over there. And it's, to people, it's a nonsense. It's on robins. But over here, you don't catch sea robins. Most of the time, when you use shrimp, if you use a small little shrimp and you put on a small hook, you could catch white perch. And those are good eating. I tried it once, and I see a lot of people just take them and they really like them. And you can also get a catfish. But to focus on the big fish like striped bass, use whole shrimp and a good big size hook. I would say like around 4, or if you want to go bigger, good luck, because you can get stuck. But you can use a circle hook, especially circle hooks. Right now we have a regulation of just circle hooks for striped bass only, because you want to protect them, you don't want to damage your lip, this and that. But other fish, I'm pretty sure you can keep. Even the oyster toe fish, I forgot what size exactly, you can keep them. But they are, other people eat them, so yeah, just follow the rules. Okay, so I have a map right now on my iPad. Let's start screen recording right now, just to show. So I'm using something similar to Google Map. I think it's called Google World. I'm not really sure, actually. Oh, Google Earth. My bad. You see, I'm telling you, I didn't even pay attention to this stuff. So, anyways, I have a map here of exactly where I'm fishing, and it seems like they really haven't updated the map, because I still see things that are not there anymore. So, for now, I'm just going to show the spot where I'm fishing on. So it's around a little area where it's a small little league baseball field. There's a little dock there that you can fish. You can fish on the side, but I recommend it not, because there's people there that go there just to sit down and relax. So I think you should avoid that area. But I'm gonna start marking spots and how far you should cast and where not to cast, because some of the spots you automatically get stuck, even if you throw it. Even if you go, like, just as long as it land, the weight or the hooks is gonna get stuck. So here we go. So there's this spot that I usually fish. Well, first let me show all the area where I fish. So once you're into the park, there's an area in the corner, and I'm gonna have the screen here. There's an area in the corner that you can fish. From there, all the way to the middle. In the map, it seems there's a lot of trees, but trust me, it's a good spot to fish. All the way to the other corner, you can fish. And that's one of my favorite spots to fish, because there's not a lot of rocks, especially in low tide. You're gonna see mud. And that's the thing. Water, when it's high tide, it fills in all the way in. So another little, like, you can say it creates another lake on the other side. But it's a good spot to fish too. And when you fish there, the whole area you can fish. I'm already showing the area right now. But this spot too, by the dock, you can fish on the dock. I recommend it to follow rules once again. Don't fish on the dock. Stay on the side, especially around this side. Stay there. When it's low tide, everything's mud. When it's high tide, it's good to fish. Use 1 ounce weight. Don't use anything bigger, because anything bigger will get stuck. And 1 ounce weight even gets stuck. But it's easy to pull out. Right here, you can focus to fish a lot of perch, just a lot of perch here. And respect, if there's people barbecuing, people just hanging out there, ask them if you can fish around there. Don't just cast, and then, you know, you never know if you're bothering them with your presence. So it's better if you ask if there's people there. So once you cast, you should cast around, let's just say, I'm gonna start adding right now. So if you're around this area, I suggest you to cast from there all the way here. I think that's a great spot. 287 feet, I think. Yeah, 287 feet from there. If you can cast that far, you can keep it down to around right there. Yeah, right there. That's another great spot to cast. If you can cast that far. But you are gonna get fish. Not always. That's the thing. Fishing is patient. If you don't have patience, then fishing is not for you. Because some days you gotta go home without catching a fish. And it can be frustrating. Especially for me. But I learned how to be patient, and I learned that patience is key, and that you always gotta catch something good. So even if you don't catch that day, maybe not today, but tomorrow you will. Maybe you catch one fish today, and tomorrow you catch the biggest fish in your life. So have patience. So that's one area. Now I'm going to go back down to the spot where I usually fish. Right here is perfect for spoons. And right now I have learned that plastic lures work. A lot of people told me I was not going to catch anything. They would look at me like a joke. But I proved them wrong by using, I bought like 2 plastic shads on the local tackle shop. Well, not local, it's pretty far, near City Island, where I used the shad. And it didn't really fit the whole entire jig head. So I cut it a little bit and it fit perfectly, and I managed to catch a good fish. 25-inch striped bass and an 18-inch. First striped bass I ever caught on a plastic lure. Usually when I use like spoons, they're really good too. But the thing about it is like the hooks, if it's not big enough, they're not gonna get stuck, or if they do get stuck, they come off. So yeah, so the area right here, this is so great to fish. Especially if you catch from, let's see if I can put the dot. Where the dot is, if you catch from there, all the way around this area, all the way here. You can tell the muddy area. All that brown spot is mud. But when the high tide is, especially when the high tide is coming in or the low tide is going down, all this area right here is good for fishing. But if you just gotta use bait, you wanna catch big fish, striped bass, use 2-ounce weights or 3. Even if it gets stuck, pull it out. So I suggest you to. So let's just say you're in this spot. Let me add the point there. You cast at least up to here. So I'm gonna make a square. Yeah, these are the good spots to like cast in. You don't really have to cast that far. If you cast that far, good luck. And in that corner, you can also cast there. I want to suggest using weights or baits, and just stand there, because for some reason people love using that specific corner as a bathroom. So if you want to smell shit, stay there. If you don't, just go there, catch some spoons or some plastic shads, and see if you catch anything. But that area specifically where it's highlighted with the lines, those are good spots to fish, and I recommend casting there. Spoons, shads, baits, whatever you want. That little area, let me see if I can get it. The little area right here that you see, like a brown line that goes like this, it's actually where the water usually comes in. So even if the water goes down, there's still water running. So those areas is, the way I think is like, oh, if the small fish is coming out, then the big fish are just waiting there trying to eat them. So you just throw your spoon, throw your plastic shad, and play your luck. Play your luck even if you don't catch anything. This is why I always say take a bait rod and take a casting rod. So you have one that you throw with bait. So if you don't catch one, and the spoon or a plastic or whatever you use, you catch something on your bait rod. And if you don't catch them both, all right, the next day you try again, or whenever you have time. So once again, great spot to cast and fully recommended. Fully recommended. So let's go to the other spot that I fish in. I started fishing actually in this corner. There's a thing. You can cast all the way in. Hold on, let me mark it. You can cast all the way in it's like the other side. You can throw spoons, plastic, whatever you want to throw. I haven't really catch anything with plastic, but with spoons I've caught like small striped bass and little small snappers. Um, so you can cast at least up to there, because I know there's, for some reason, if I can get the, you can see the depth. I think there's like a pipe there, I'm not sure. So be careful because you could get stuck. So here's the thing: if you end up casting around here, as you can see the brown spots, those are rocks. I wouldn't recommend you. It's gonna get stuck. So this is, practice your casting. Let's see if I can make a video of how I cast or how to cast. So practice your casting if you want to fish here and if you don't want to lose weights. So you cast from either that spot. So I'm gonna make a square exactly where you should cast. It's with an actual dot. So that yellow line. So you can cast from this area all the way in here, and then the further you go to the corner right here, you gotta cast all the way right here. Because if you cast the other side, you can end up getting stuck in the tree. So that will be a bad thing, and then you gotta rip out the tree, or you end up losing your weight, your hooks, everything. So I wouldn't recommend you to cast around here, because you're gonna get stuck. Like this spot, you could end up getting stuck on a tree and a rock, or you won't be able to catch properly because of the trees. All right then. If you're gonna start, just at this part. That's a great, especially if you have kids and you want to teach your kids how to fish, or you're learning how to fish with your kids. I recommend you this corner all the way down. Use shrimp, small little pieces. You don't want to go for the big fish yet. Small hooks, size, let's see, size 3. No, actually I made a mistake. Let me go back. Don't use size 4 hooks for striped bass, circle hooks, because that's too small. I meant to say 4 is a big difference. Look it up, do your research. I made a mistake there, but use 4 hooks or less. Going back, use a size 4 hook that is around this size. Small little piece of shrimp. Don't use whole shrimp, don't use half a shrimp. Cut them into small pieces, make them last. If you go to your like a local fish store around here, like where they sell fresh fish where you can eat, buy shrimp. You can buy 5, 8, 10 shrimps, however you want, and they will last you. They will last you a while, especially if you cut them like small little pieces, and they're usually like $2, $3, $4. So if you buy like 8, 10 pieces, I think it's like $2, $3. So you're good with those. Just cut them small. Use a size 4 hook, and just on the tip, put it. Especially when those the size 4 hooks, it should be a J hook. I recommend a J hook or a bait holder hook, where you just put the bait there and it doesn't come off. So once you put that small little bait on the tip, because usually if you put the whole thing, the fish are smart. So let's just say this is the hook, the fish was trying to eat it on the side, and you're not gonna hook it. So when you have the hook and you put the bait right on the tip of the hook, I feel like once the fish bite, it automatically get stuck. It's not always a guarantee, but that's another thing you should pay attention. Just because you get little bites doesn't mean you're they're gonna get hooked. And another thing that I fully recommend, my bad. Another thing that I should mention is the fact that the river it runs fast. The river current is so fast. I would recommend you using a 1 ounce, 2 ounce weight. Let me see. I wouldn't recommend you casting here with a 1 or 2 ounces. It's gonna take you all the way to the corner. You're gonna get stuck on a rock. A lot of people use it, especially the people that be fishing there. They use 1 or 2 ounces. So next spot. Here we are. This is a great fishing spot right here. You can catch striped bass. You can catch catfish. Anything you want, as long as you're in the middle. So this is how far I recommend you casting. So if you're here, it's a big spot. It doesn't look big, but it's a big spot. So if you cast here, I will say the max at least. Like this is how far I will make it. I want to say I make it all the way to the middle. I don't. So I use a 3 ounce, so I'll cast all the way there. So depending where the current is going, it will go down or it will go up. Even if it gets stuck, if you have a 20-pound line, I forgot to mention, 20-pound line, or use braided, 20, 30-pound braided, and then on the tip use a leader or 40-pound leader, like that you don't have to lose anything. So the thing is, like the braided, even if you pull, it can end up ripping, but at least the mono or floor carving will give you a chance to save your weight by stretching it. So you can use mono on your reel, 20 pounds, 40 pounds, like that you can end up pulling it, or you can use braided and use a mono leader. If you just want to use just braided, okay, just be careful, there's rocks there, so it can end up cutting the line. So anyways, going back, so I would recommend you casting there, and you will have enough space to cast anywhere here. So you either cast there or you can cast here. In this spot, even though there's like the shadowing where there's rocks, just cast it around here. My bad. As long as you cast around here, there's a 50% chance you are gonna get stuck on a rock. So take the risk. But it's a good spot to fish, especially to catch any type of fish. If you manage to catch all the way up here, same thing. Sometimes you even catch big fish around here. And I see people that use 1-2 ounce weights, even though the current is taking it. They catch big fish, but it's just rare. So I really recommend casting it here or down here. So it'd be 1, 2. Or either direction, it could be there, it could be there, whatever direction you want to do it. As long as the line is in there, you gotta get a fish. If you don't, try again, like I said. Alright, now that I'm done showing you exactly the spot that I fish, another thing I want to make clear is that, like I was mentioning, try to keep the place clean. If you see trash, pick it up, even if it's not yours. If you see lines stuck in the tree or something, try to wrap it and then throw it out. You'll be doing a lot of people a big favor. That's usually what I do. If you could, take a plastic bag to throw your trash in. You know, just don't throw trash anywhere. Just keep the area clean and respect the regulations. I will say, and I'm not gonna mention who they are, but there are people that don't respect that, and I feel like they should be a little bit more stricter with the regulation. You should get your your saltwater fishing license. If you're local, it's free. It's free to get a license, a saltwater license. It's $28 if I recall to get freshwater license. So I think my next 2 other videos that I'm gonna be uploading is gonna be about where I fish freshwater and where I fish the other spot that I fish saltwater. There's a lot of spots. Like right now, because I have the map and I'm still screen recording the iPad. This whole area, this whole area here is fishable. Just a lot of terrain, a lot of rocks, like I said. This whole area you can fish. Well, I don't know about here. I never really tried fishing here, but the current is super strong. So I suggest that you can fish around here. Just prepare yourself if you're gonna end up losing weights, and then fish right here. There's a dock actually right here. It's called 200th Street. It's on Dikeman Pier. It's next to a restaurant. Right here it says outdoor fitness equipment. Not really. It's like a restaurant right here. There's free parking if you want, but you can fish on the dock. And you can fish this whole area right here. Not here, because that's a rental boating thing. And once again, it seems like they haven't updated the map. Now they're using this spots to for boats that they're renting for people to take. So not for, I don't know, for fishing. I think it's just for to go around the river. But this area right here, this whole entire area, all the way down, up to here, you can fish. But you are gonna lose weights. They are gonna get stuck. Trust me. And if you go to cast from any of these areas, so I'm gonna use one spot as an example. Let's see where is it? So let's just say it's a long walk. You can take your bike, you can take your electric bike, whatever you want. So let me give you an example. If you're fishing from this spot, because there are boats around there, don't cast so far. Because then if it gets tangled with a boat, it either breaks or you're gonna end up losing a rod. So cast up to there, 100 feet, or max, I would say 200. If there's a boat there, don't cast. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to be precise. You can use blowworm, you can use bunker, you know, you can use all these things. Usual bait, you are good to catch fish, but if you want to save money, shrimp is the way to go. And I suggest you to use, for the big striped bass, use a big circle hook once again for or less. Use a whole shrimp. As long as you can fit a whole shrimp and you know that's gonna get hooked, you're good. Other than that, you can use any bait you want. You can try a bait. Usually catfish go for shrimp. You can try that. And it's funny because usually you think, wait, what type of worms can I use here? Bloodworm, saltwater. One of the most common bait is bloodworm for saltwater. But earthworm works good here. Literally earthworms, you can dig them up on the side if you're around dirt or it's wet and you try to dig them up. You can actually catch white perch and catfish. But other than that, shrimp is the #1 bait I suggest you to go. Once again, respect the area, respect the people, and if they don't respect them, ignore them, avoid fights. If they start something with you, walk away. If you have to defend yourself, defend yourself. But if you want to fish there, remember, early bird gets the worm, so be there early, find a good spot, stay on the spot. If you move, you could end up losing your spot. Right now it's winter, so it's kind of slow. There's not going to be a lot of people, but I'm going to try to see how much I can fish there if it's not too cold, because I think freshwater is a little bit better right now, because fishing in the area, there's a lot of wind coming in, so it feels a little bit colder. Wednesday, it's going to go to that spot to see if we can catch any fish. We got to take our tent and we got to stay there inside the tent, try to keep ourselves warm, and we just got to cast and put some bells on the rods and see if we can catch anything. Another video I'm probably gonna make is the type of material that I use, the type of equipment that I use. So, you know, I'm just gonna explain the type of reels and rods that I use. That last video that I used, I kind of like did how can I put it? I mean, a little bit of errors. You can see the first video. But there's some reels that I now changed my mind of, especially the quality and how long did it last me. So I think I was overhyping it. So I'm gonna redo that video like that, and I'm also gonna do videos how to, like, what type of rig works for me in that area. This is just rigs that are gonna be just for that area. So if you want to try somewhere else and it works, let me know. You never know, because I use certain techniques and rigs that work for me around here. I learned them from the internet, but they're fishing some other state or some other country. So, you know, I'm gonna show you the rigs that I use, and the rigs that I use and that have worked out for me. So, my bad for the way I talk, this and that, but hopefully I explain things enough, and hopefully you guys get into fishing, or if you already know how to fish, these are great spots to fish. Just like I said, keep the area clean, respect the place, and follow regulations. I'm gonna sound like probably I'm kissing ass, but we gotta follow regulation. We gotta protect these fish species, especially for the future.